Heyo, welcome back to Art with Ashleigh Monet. Hola, would be me. I don't know about you guys, but I have seriously missed some corrupt coloring. It's been way too long since the last video. Unless, of course, you count the last live I did. So I took a little mini break, a teeny tiny Tic Tac size hiatus, if you will, and came back with a live where I kind of gave a little teaser of what was to come this week. And that is corrupt coloring in my bestie boo's new book, Cozy Forest. I love corrupting Paula's books. This is her latest. And I'm not gonna lie, I struggled coming up with ideas when I first got this book. The characters in it are so stinking adorable. They're little like cutesy, whimsical, foresty creatures. And that is the first time that flipping through a book, I just could not see a way to corrupt them. I loved them as they were. I wanted to leave them as they were and just do regular coloring. But that is not my forte. And I sat and thought and agonized until one page stuck out to me. This one. I looked at it and immediately I saw a Demogorgon from Stranger Things. You had the petals around the head. It was just screaming to become a Demogorgon. Well, then I took that and looking only through the lens of like a Stranger Things theme, suddenly I started seeing ways I could corrupt the other pages. So that is what we are doing today. Stranger Things themed corrupt coloring. And I had a lot of ideas. So we're going to be doing more pages than normal. So sit back, grab a drink, grab a snack. We might be here for a little while. Enough of me talking. Well, let's jump right in and see what I can create. All right, I feel like we just have to start it off with a closer look at that page that started it all. Again, I did this page on a live stream, which was an absolute disaster. I had technical difficulties, and ironically, the entire live had to be streamed upside down. It was a mess. It was a mess. But still, it needs to be recognized. As I said, this was the page that inspired the whole Stranger Things theme to continue throughout today. But I think we should press on and get started with our first page. Now, as you guys know, I always like to warm up by just doing one page with regular coloring, no creepifying, no corrupting, just kind of getting my groove doing some regular coloring. And I was more excited than normal for this. Again, these particular drawings, I really like them as is. And I liked a lot of them, so it was a hard choice, but I ended up choosing this page. I think because it just had this kind of earthy, tribal vibe that was speaking to me. You know, this character almost reminds me a little bit of the Kakamora pirate coconuts from Moana. Or maybe has a little bit of the like creepy yellow jackets, you know, scavenger in the woods type vibe. I don't know. This little character, to me, she just screams, she's a warrior, she's a survivor, and I dig it. Now, apart from the pink flowers, which I just loved, by the way, I'm just going to do like a very simple, kind of predictable, earthy color scheme for this one. Watch as Phoebe very politely roasts my coloring skills.
It's okay if you get out of the lines. Just try your best.
That's right. It takes practice to be able to stay in the lines, that's for sure.
Yeah, because you see that this part is out of the line. That's okay.
But yeah, there's not much to talk about on this page. I do, though, want to address the live situation again because it was just such a wreck, and I feel like nobody else doing lives on YouTube struggles half as much as I do for whatever reason. I'm thinking moving forward, I need to kind of do like an all or nothing thing. Either I stop doing lives altogether because they're always a disaster, or I need to commit and get a streaming software that I actually have to pay for. I was using StreamYard for a few past lives and I liked it, but then all of a sudden now it will not connect to my YouTube account, which is super, super frustrating. So again, I think if I'm going to do something, I'm going to want to do something paid, and then the only way to make it worth my money is to do more and more live streams, which I think could be useful. I mean, to do a live here and there if there's a week that I'm just behind and I can't get a video out. At least I can show my face for an hour or two, say hi to all you guys. I do think, though, mainly if I was to go down that route, the streams would be more for my memberships over on the Buy Me a Coffee page. Those of you that don't know, I do offer memberships on buymeacoffee.com. You pay a small monthly fee. You unlock bonus content. I do behind the scenes posts. I have polls on there. My Black and Gold members also get discounts on my shop. But my top tier, the Gold tier, they also get bonus videos. And I've been struggling with those. I think since I've started the memberships, I've done like 5 or 6 bonus videos, not nearly as many as I want to be doing. And it all comes down to the edits. Edits take so much longer than actually filming the video. And I struggle just to get my regular videos up on time once a week. That is something I still haven't mastered. So finding extra time to then edit an extra video has been even harder for me. So I'm thinking the lives could actually really be useful on my memberships. Maybe have like a set schedule where, I don't know, maybe like once a week I do a live for my gold members. I have a poll up on my membership page. There's definitely already some feedback on it, but if you are a member and can participate in the polls, I encourage you to go over to that Buy Me a Coffee page. I'll go ahead and link it in the description and cast a vote so that I know if the lives is something you guys would be more interested in, or if you're comfortable just waiting around for whenever I have time to do bonus videos. Either way, because I want you guys happy. You mean the world to me. I love my members. But yeah, I am loving this little girly here, and we absolutely cannot forget it's juicy highlight time. And just like that, here's the first page. It's super cute. It was super relaxing to do. Sometimes regular coloring is good for the soul, but now it's time to change things up. We're switching gears and doing Stranger Things now. I'm gonna start with this page and this little character lounging on her back. Well, I'm envisioning 11 and she is floating in her sensory deprivation tank. If I'm honest though, I actually got the idea from this page because this one is actually floating in liquid on its back. But with everything going on with the arms here, that would be a lot to try and work around. This pose being so similar, I can totally channel the same effect. First things first though, I gotta lay down my line work. I gotta draw everything that would be in the 11 sensory deprivation tank floating scene. Overall, the changes here are pretty simple. We gotta put her in that white little wetsuit she wears, that weird kind of swim cap with all the like monitors checking her brainwaves or whatever. But that's it. Not too tricky. Next comes the coloring, and that's where things do get tricky. Like the hard part is to not get confused and to always be able to distinguish the lines that you want the drawing to have versus the lines that it already has. There are certain lines here that I'm going to want to disappear, and mentally I have to ignore them even though they are still very much on the page. And then there are new lines that I need to extend the picture to, and I need to remember what's what. No lie, this would be about 10 times easier if I could just take a white paint pen and erase all the little lines that I plan to get rid of later. And honestly, if I just use like acrylic markers, say, to do this entire page, that would be a totally viable option. But I don't like to do that. I like to color using alcohol markers. They are my jam. So instead, I have to make life a little bit harder for myself. Now, once the marker coloring is done, then I can go through with those acrylic paint pens and just hide some of those lines that I want to get rid of. That cap has a lot of lines from where her head used to be. We just need to get rid of those. I do have to try and match the alcohol marker underneath, which can get tricky, but we're definitely going to make her eyes closed. She does not have her eyes open when she's in the sensory deprivation tank. Oh yes, and she's going to have no nose. I kind of debated over whether to keep these creatures still looking animalistic the way that they were or to fully convert them to human form. And I chose to go with human. I still do have to work with the proportions of the character on the page, so a lot of these are going to look like chibi drawings, if you will. Cody said they look like South Park characters, which I can absolutely see. Or maybe even like Powerpuff Girl type. But that's okay. It's still very much going to read Stranger Things, I hope. This page has the easiest background of all because all we got to do is black it out. When in doubt, black it out. That sensory deprivation tank is just black, and I love that for me. Also, fair warning, this video is going to have a fair bit of spoilers for, this last season. If you don't want to see them, don't watch. As far as I'm concerned, this series finale has been out long enough that y'all should have seen it if you had an interest, okay? Just putting that out there. Spoilers ahead. But now, instead of just black, we do need to make this look like she is floating in water, that she is in the tank. So I'm going to take a little bit of watered down blue acrylic just to add what'll look like shallow water. Again, when 11 is floating in this tank, it's not like she's fully above water. There are parts of her body that are submerged. So I'm just trying to create that effect. And then of course we need to go around her and just add a bunch of ripples. Again, she has to look like she's in water, not just floating in a black abyss. Now, if I remember, because this particular tank she's floating in, wasn't it called Nina or something like that? It was when she's trying to get her powers back. And if I remember, they had like floodlights or monitors or something on the top of the tank, and that was like being reflected in the water. So I'm going to try and create that. I mean, it looks not great, but I tried. I think it's fair that we can move on to a bit of those last little details using the colored pencils, you know, all that. And add a little border around the page just to try and make it more artistic. Honestly, that part's not very necessary, but I did it anyway. And here she is, 11 in her tank, and I just freaking love it. Friendly reminder of what we started off as. I definitely think we have put that amazing Stranger Things spin on it. We are off to a good start. Now let's jump over to this page. On it, I immediately saw potential. Okay, we have this sweet little animal, these little baby plant bulb creatures. It's definitely giving like parent baby energy. This one's got the wand. It's casting some sort of spell. It looks like it could be opening some kind of portal even. I'm sorry, but I look at this and this is Steve. Steve the Harrington. Steve and his little nuggets. Steve is my jam. He complains about always being, quote, the babysitter, but secretly has a dream of having 6 little nuggets. I just adore that. And while there aren't 6 here, there's enough that we can do the 4 main boys. Dustin, Mike, Will, and Lucas. And this portal here obviously could be the gate to the upside down. Hello. And this wand, I'm definitely going to turn that into Steve's baseball bat, the one with all the nails coming out of it, and his amazing Farrah Fawcett hair. That's going to hide everything that's going on this creature's head. We can make a backpack to cover those wings. I think we have a solid plan of attack. I can't lie though, the little baby dudes, those were kind of hard. I obviously wanted them to have the vibe of their characters, but they don't have any bodies. They are literally just little round orbs. So I kind of just had to rely on like their hair and the color of the shirt and their accessories to try and convey like, this is who it is. Drawing established, now it's time to color. And I can just go on my little I heart Steve rant. He is just an amazing character. I cannot lie, had no love for him in season 1. Started coming around in season 2, but season 3, Steve was just chef's kiss. I feel like season 3 gets a lot of hate and I do not understand it. That one might be my favorite season of all of them. Not only because the Steve and Robin Scoops Ahoy dynamic, oh my gosh, love it. It's brilliance, pure brilliance. But also I loved that season was just like a time capsule. The shopping at the mall, the music, like they nailed the 80s with that. And I've always loved the 80s. I was definitely born in the wrong decade. The 80s are my jam. But yeah, Steve the Harrington definitely grew on me and is definitely one of my all-time favorite characters in Stranger Things. So I felt some sort of pressure that this page had to do him justice. And by far my favorite thing about him is that he is always the babysitter and he guards those kids with his life. It's cute. Okay, but for this page, I'm thinking they're actually going to be in the upside down. So to do that, I want the background of the page to be navy blue because you know in the upside down, everything has that creepy blue haze all over it. That's how you know you're in the upside down, man. Line work all cleaned up, and now it is time to hide the lines that I don't want with the acrylic paint markers. That baseball bat gave me some hell. That thing ended up completely covered in acrylic paints. Like I shouldn't have even bothered using markers on that thing to start with because they ended up just getting covered up. They really did. Then I wanted to work on that gate. I really wanted it to look good. You've got to add that like stringy texture to it. It should be glowing from the inside. And then of course you have those upside down creepy vines coming off of everything. Got to add some nails to the bat. I don't know how I waited this long to do that. And then of course everything needs a bunch of juicy highlights. Yes, indeed. Oh, also the air particles that are in the upside upside down that for whatever reason in season 1 were completely toxic and now like nobody even mentions it, but whatever. We need the particles. And I just couldn't resist adding the mind flayer to the gate. Although now that I think about it, that makes absolutely no sense because they are currently in the upside down. So if they're looking through the gate and seeing the mind flayer, that means the mind flayer is in the right side up and it should be the opposite, you know. Whatever. I wanted the mind flayer, okay? Let's really finish off and thicken up some of these lines. Finish up with the juicy highlights. And this page is finished. Oh, I adore Steve. I adore this page. And then you look back to what it started as, something so sweet and innocent. I love that I got so many characters in this one. I'm happy with this page, yes. Okay, pause everything because I need your guys' attention. One person, literally one person asked to get a close-up of my little mushroom guy on my shelf. This is my little mushy. He is so stinking cute. I made him when Cody and I went to one of those pottery painting places. He and I love doing that. And I did share this with my members when I made it and then just silently stuck it up on the shelf. But there are some eagle-eye people and y'all don't miss anything. So that's my mini mush. Thank you guys for your attention to this important matter. We can get back to the video now. And we're moving right along to this page. These cute little creatures playing hide and seek, but not for long. You see, I'm going to turn this page into the Stranger Things scene that broke me. And that is the tragic farewell to Eddie Munson. Oh, Eddie still to this day remains my tippity top main squeeze, my favorite character in Stranger Things. And it was so sad that we had to lose him. But I will say he went out like a beast. So I hate this scene. But this little guy at the bottom, that one's going to be Dustin. You see how he's hiding in this crack? Well, we're going to make that like when he's stuck on the other side of the gate, knowing that Eddie is about to sacrifice himself and he can't get back through. And then up top is our hero, Eddie. I had to draw in his guitar that he absolutely shreds in this scene, and I'm not gonna lie, I may or may not have been singing Master of Puppets in my head most of the time that I was making this page. Now, for this page, unlike the others, I did decide to give them dialogue. Dustin is, of course, gonna be screaming, "Eddie, no!" And Eddie, of course, will be saying the line that absolutely stole my heart right before he starts shredding the guitar. "Chrissy, this is for you." Ugh, Eddie and Chrissy. They will forever, to me, be the what should have happened. I can't lie. When it came to this final season of Stranger Things, I was definitely hoping for more of a vindication for Eddie. You know, season 4 ended with people hating him, even though he died trying to protect the very people that were coming after him. It's just like so sad. And I thought that, I don't know, he would get more recognition in the final season. Blindly was a little bit hopeful that there'd be a return, but, alas, that did not happen, and I was quite sad. But even in like the end scene where they're finally able to destroy Vecna and Joyce is just axing this guy up and they're doing all the flashbacks of all of Vecna's victims, all of the people that he destroyed, and they show Eddie, and I definitely got emotional when he popped up. I don't know, there was something lost in the fact that like Joyce was the one killing Vecna to me. Like, that should have been Dustin's swing, was the Eddie swing. And, you know, the Barb swing should have been Nancy's swing. Like, why was it all Joyce? That was weird to me. I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. There's just, like, one thing I would have changed if I could. Anyways, it's time to start hiding some of these lines that we want to do away with. I'd say this was the one that was probably the easiest to camouflage those in. Like, there was a lot going on in Eddie's hair, but his hair is dark, so it covered right up. No problem. There was a lot happening on his guitar, but Eddie's guitar actually has this kind of like lava rock texture pattern to it. So it's like that camouflaged the lines amazingly. The cave rocks that they're standing on have all these lines, and I just turned them into, again, those vines that come out of every gate, and it hit them great. It was like so easy to work this in. Didn't really have to compete with the existing drawing a whole lot, which I loved. Of course, I had to add those blasted demobats to the background, the ones that killed my Eddie. But we are gonna make Eddie glowing. Again, this is his hero shot. He is radiating, and then we're gonna have some lightning crashing in the background. Like, this has to look badass. Most metal ever! Add some juicy highlights. And this page, oh, my ode to my sweet Eddie, it is done. I love how it came out, especially what it came from, which was a very, very cute page. This is not a very, very cute page. It's a very sad page, but it is our hero moment. R.I.P. Eddie. Okay, last but certainly not least, this page. Okay, this one here might be a little bit of a stretch. I need you guys to stay with me. You've got this sweet little winged creature with a crown of leaves, but I've decided I'm gonna turn her into Karen Wheeler. Karen Wheeler's character development in season 5 is my absolute favorite. She went from this little perfect like beaver cleaver housewife to the mom that we all would want to be. A total badass, like ain't no Demogorgon gonna touch any of my babies. She is a scrapper and I love her for it. I love how accurate the meme was for this too, that says like you could be fighting for your life, unable to talk in a hospital bed and your kids are still gonna need you for something. So true, so true. But Karen still got her butt out of that bed and blew up a bunch of Demogorgons to save her kids. Snaps for Karen. So I'm going to turn this page into Karen's badass blowing up the Demogorgons moment. She's going to be in her hospital gown, neck brace and all, wheeling around an oxygen tank, holding a severed Demogorgon arm, cause why not? And I can't lie, her hair is going to work perfectly to cover up all these little leaves. Like crazy Karen hair. I will say though, the coloring on this one was tricky, especially that hair. She's blonde, and if she had been brunette, I don't think I'd struggle nearly as much, but light colors just don't cover these dark outlines nearly as easily. So I had to layer and layer and layer, and just like the baseball bat, like eventually the hair is just completely covered with acrylic paint because I really had to work to hide those lines. Also for the background, I was completely lost at what to throw back there, so I just decided to do like a big old flame, just fire, burn it down, Karen, burn it down. I don't know. It'll work just fine. But yes, super happy with how Karen ended up in season 5. Definitely my favorite season of hers. Overall, I was pretty happy with the ending. I know there were some people that were very, very upset, and I agree, like, it's got holes in it. Let's be real. But I felt like it came to a logical conclusion. I felt resolved in it. Not a whole lot of loose ends. I got emotional. I was content, and I feel like so rarely does that happen with TV shows nowadays. I feel like everything always has some kind of wiggity whack ending. I wasn't mad at Stranger Things. Anyways, a whole lot of fuss later. We've got it done. We've got it covered up. I want to go through and add some shadows to some of these colors. Definitely add a few juicy highlights to some of these aspects. That oxygen tank needs to be shiny. Oh, and then bruises. Karen's face during this scene is all busted up from her first Demogorgon encounter. So I gotta add those in with a little colored pencil. I think that did it. Like, she is just mwah, chef's kiss. Perfect. I love this page. I love this moment to go from like this little fairy queen drawing that we started with to now a fiery queen. So to recap, we did this cute little foresty cave creature, unaltered, simply adorable, pure cuteness. And I actually think that was a really fun place to start. Then we switched over to the Stranger Things theme. Again, this Demogorgon page that was done in a live was then the catalyst for all of the others, so we've got to include it here. Then we've got 11 in her sensory deprivation tank. Had to do an 11 page, obviously. She is the hero, the ultimate hero of Stranger Things, and I like this page for her. Then, of course, Steve and all the boys. I think this was the most fun to create, just trying to figure out how to turn all these little blobs into their little boys. It took a lot of creativity, a lot of brain power, but it was fun creativity. I really like this, and obviously love Steve, so happy with this page. And then the Eddie page, which arguably might be my favorite, not just because it's Eddie and I love Eddie, but again, how easy it was to convert. It was like, that's what this page was meant to be. I love it so much. And finally, the Karen Wheeler blowing up the demos. Gosh, I don't know. I love this one too. This might be a tie for first. Karen just showed up for us moms, and I love that. That speaks to my heart. But with that, we can call it a wrap. I hope you guys liked this episode. I had so much fun doing it. Seriously, I'm sad to see Stranger Things over and done. I love that show so much. but I got to give it a little ode. I gotta rep my girl Creative Paula and her adorable coloring book, which I will link below in the description. And yeah, it just feels good to be back in the saddle. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.